Let's say you're a student at Emerson College with dreams of becoming a big-time filmmaker. And you want to get from this
When he's trying to shoot a web, he's just like, go web, go!
to this.
Feels very important when you're shooting something on IMAX. There's a nice pressure to it.
Luckily for you, there are some intermediate steps you can take right here at Emerson, but it means you need to start thinking less like an artsy-fartsy film auteur and more like a business-minded producer. This is your crash course in how to produce a film at Emerson College. What exactly does a producer do? Most people know it has something to do with money, but what producers actually do is make the film happen, which usually involves securing money. The producer is the glue that holds the film together and the one who ultimately drags it across the finish line using a combination of a bulldog attitude and money. If you make your own films here at Emerson, then you are already a producer.
She's going to be fine. We've seen this before.
Say you feel ready to make the leap out of your dorm room where you made all your previous movies in your spare time using your cell phone camera and a couple friends from school and onto a real film set. That means it's time to start thinking like a producer. The first thing a producer does is take stock of how much money they have and either set a budget based on that or find ways to get more money. I can't stress this enough. No money equals no film. Remember, we're stepping out of our dorm rooms and dipping a tiny pinky toe into the pool of professional filmmaking. Steven Soderbergh might have shot an entire movie on his iPhone, but it still cost him $1.5 million to do so. For a student film, usually you start out with a set amount of money, and then you make a budget based off that. Even a no-budget film still needs to feed its crew at a minimum. If you can't afford to do even that, then raise and save money until you can. Next, you need to pick the right script for the budget and resources you have. Stick to interesting locations that you have access to, keeping in mind that you may need to pay for a permit if you're filming in a public space. You also want to stick to as few characters as possible, because each character is an actor you're going to have to audition, cast, manage, and then probably pay. When you write your script, you should keep in mind how you're going to cast each character and be prepared for any issues that you could run into. Try to avoid demographics that might be difficult to cast as well, like small children. Finally, concerning the script, you want to keep it as short as possible. A longer script equals more filming days, which equals more money and more difficulty getting people to help out. Generally, it takes 1 day to shoot 3 to 4 pages of script. You can shoot more than 4 pages in 1 day if the script is logistically very simple, like 2 people talking in a room, but more than 4 pages in 1 day usually becomes very stressful and nobody's having a good time, and then they're less likely to help you in the future. Once you've got a good script that fits your budget, the next step is to pick your shooting days. Decide whose schedule is the most important to you. For instance, your DP, your main actor, the location availability, or whatever, and set your shooting schedule based off that. Set it in stone. Then work backwards and create your pre-production schedule. That way, when you're recruiting your cast and crew, they'll either be in or out, making it a lot simpler for you. Next, cast the major roles in your film. Keep in mind that the longer the film, the tougher it is to get talent, especially unpaid talent. You can try casting Emerson actors, but you'll be limited to a demographic of 18 to 21-year-olds who will still be learning the craft and may not be the most skilled or professional options. If you use a casting system like Backstage, and especially if you pay people, you'll have a bigger pool of talent and better professionalism. Whether or not you pay them, you should have your cast sign contracts. Actors on contracts are less likely to flake out on you and can't decide later that they don't want to be in your film and then refuse to sign a release form. There are plenty of templates online that you can use. Then, secure your crew. The starter pack of a professional crew includes the director of photography, assistant cameraman, assistant director, gaffer, grip and electric, hair and makeup, costume, production design, sound, crafty, and any specialists the script may require, like armorers, intimacy coordinators, and special effects people. Similar to recruiting actors, you can use your classmates to fill your crew, but you can run into issues with lower than ideal talent levels and professionalism. And since Emerson doesn't teach the specialty crew positions, you'll need to reach outside the school to fill those roles. Luckily, there are plenty of Massachusetts film industry specific Facebook pages you can use to advertise those roles. Like with actors, you should have non-Emerson crew members sign contracts. Once you've got a budget, shooting days, cast, and crew, you'll need to secure the shooting locations. Get any permits necessary and any certificates of insurance if you're not filming on Emerson property. You might want to move this step up if you think you'll have to go through a lengthy permit approval process, or if you want to shoot on a busy Emerson soundstage that you may need to reserve months ahead of time. Next, you should determine your daily schedule. Pick your daily crew call and wrap-up times, taking into account any commute times or transportation issues, any hard location start or stop times, and any key cast and crew time restrictions. You should also nail down rehearsal dates and the pickup and return dates of borrowed EDC equipment. Now you're in the home stretch. Rapid fire. Now you need to put in your equipment order with the EDC and location safety forms with the VMA production portal, set up an all-hands meeting with the cast and crew, buy food, figure out the meal plans, and wrap up any pre-production loose ends. And now, finally, make your film. Enjoy yourself. You worked your ass off to get to this point, so savor it. Here's a list of some things I didn't mention that are specific to the director's duties if you're also directing, but you probably won't do these if you're just producing, say, another student's film. These things include daily shoot schedule, aka making the strip board, making the shot list, storyboards, post-production tasks, distribution and film festivals. Though I should note that if you become a professional producer, like you actually get paid to produce, you would be involved in distribution, just usually not at the student producer level. And that's how you produce a film in Emerson, like a real professional filmmaker. Now go get him, Tiger. Start that climb up to the Oscars.
She's going to be fine. We've seen this before.